Hurricane Ian's coming. Gotta get ready. This hurricane is on the way. I wanted to show you what we have in place, what our plan is for if the power goes out, if it's out for multiple days. How are we gonna take care of this fish room? Let me show you. No, this is not a fancy chair for the cat. No, these are Aqumo batteries. These things are great. I did a video about these a while back. I'll put a card up in the corner for those. These things are going to be great for running a lot of the small stuff if we need to. Things like air pumps and stuff like that. They'll run them for a long time, and when they need to be charged back up again, we can charge them up on something that I will show you in just a second. But along with that, I also have a bunch of things that we've collected. Some air lines. We've got a USB air pump here. That's an aquarium co-op pump. I've had it for like 3 years and it just still runs perfectly. Bunch of air stones, bunch of air line, leftover air line from the beta system. We have all of that in case things go real bad and we just need to run air pumps in here and put air stones in the tanks just to keep the water moving. But that's not the plan. The actual plan is to use this guy right here, which we just went to the store and bought this generator to basically run everything that is essential in the fish room. So we'll hook up canister filters, we'll hook up the pumps for the big sump systems for the big tanks. We may, if there's not enough power, we may drop down to just one pump, because all three of our biggest tanks, the two 240s and the 360, they both have 2 pumps in each tank. We may drop down to just one if there's not enough power to have them all hooked up. That's how we would do it. And just keep the water moving to keep the fish alive. There's a canister filter in there, hang on the back filter there, sponge filter there, hang on the back filter. It's all pretty simple stuff that should run just fine off of the generator. And then this is run by an air pump. The tanks back there, the 5 nano tanks of Lisa's, we will get those, get an air pump. I'll probably have to grab one out of the warehouse and hook all of those up just with air stones in them, because there's 5 pumps in there. We don't want to run 5, not pumps, but 5 filters in there, and that might just be a little bit too much. So air stones will be fine. The beta system, we have 2 pumps. There's a pump in each sump, one down there, one down here. I will hook each pump up and just run them at their lowest setting, just to keep water flowing, keep things moving. You know, we're gonna run things at the bare minimum to keep the fish alive. They might not be happy, they might be a little miserable, but we're all gonna be miserable if this happens. So, you know, we just hope none of it happens, but if it does, we're gonna be ready for it. Are you awake now? Hello. So as I'm filming this, it is Thursday. Ian is supposed to be here to visit us on Sunday. I will get footage of it. Hopefully, you know, looking at the news, it looks like the eye of the storm is gonna miss us. We're in Northeast North Carolina. It looks like it's gonna miss us. It's gonna be more towards the western side of the state and then come back, and I don't know. But we're still gonna probably get a lot of heavy rain and a lot of heavy wind and stuff like that. So you don't know what's gonna happen here, but whatever does happen, I will show you. And if we have to hook things up out here, I'll show all of that too. And then, you know, maybe it'll help you to be prepared for a storm. But hopefully I don't have anything to show you. Hopefully nothing happens. And the end of this video will just be like, well, this is what I would have done if things went bad. Well, 10 a.m. Friday. Just a lot of rain, nothing real extreme yet, but it's coming. Jasper, get out of the rain. What are you doing? We got to bring Jasper inside.
So for North Carolinians, I want to be clear. This storm can still be dangerous and even deadly.
All right, so it is Saturday. I was wrong in the beginning of this video when I said that the main part of the storm was supposed to get to us on Sunday. No, it came through Thursday and Friday. I don't know. And I'm happy to report that we got through it pretty much unscathed. We did have some issues, not with the fish house, but with our property. Let me show you. It's pretty sad. So this is at the back of our property. I know all this land here looks like our property's huge, but that actually doesn't belong to us. That's all farmland. There used to be a huge barn right here before we bought the property, and that barn burnt down. When it burnt down, it burnt this pine tree here up pretty bad. And you can see the tree is dead. I've been looking at getting it taken out of here. I think it's a little beyond what I can do with my little chainsaw. But Mother Nature has helped us out a little bit with this tree and knocked the top half of this tree off and threw it over here about 40 feet away and created this carnage here. You know, the tree had to come out, so I'm not worried about it. It's just going to be a lot of work cleaning up this mess. This isn't the real sad part though. Let me show you what's really depressing. One of the things that made me absolutely fall in love with this property when we first looked at it was all of the huge mature trees. We've got three huge sycamore trees there, some magnolias, some pecan trees. That's the back of the fish house right there. I just absolutely love these. These trees are gorgeous, including this sycamore here, which unfortunately fell victim to Ian. He cut this tree, just like the one in the back, almost in half. And that's very, very sad because this is an old, very mature tree. I've been needing to get out here and do some work around it there, clearing out the bottom, but yeah, now I have even more work to do. But that's okay. I mean, if you consider what the people in Florida went through, and you know, there's so many people that got hit way harder than we did, I'd say we made it through pretty good. And I don't feel that bad about it, even though that's going to be a bear to get out of here. But what about the fish house? Did we have any issues there? No. Like I said, we got pretty lucky here. The power didn't even flicker. I mean, it never went off once. So we didn't have anything happen to the fish house, at least from a power standpoint. There's one little thing that I'll show you that is, you know, of concern, but it certainly didn't ruin anything or anything like that. But it's a concern nonetheless. And there he is. Hello, Carl. Carl's always the first one to welcome us whenever we walk into here. Turn the alarm off. So nothing really happened out here. I mean, like I said, we didn't lose power at all. There's only one little thing that I haven't looked at yet, and yeah, it's okay. It's in the beta section of it. It's nothing to completely panic over, but it's still something I have to address. This is a super old door that's original to this building, and we have not touched it. There's a pretty significant crack down at the bottom there that was allowing some water to come through. Lisa stuffed these little things in there, and the towels. It's nothing that's happened to this point yet, but you can see there's some rot down there and stuff like that. So it is an issue. I'm going to have to address that. That doesn't affect the aquariums, but you know, it affects this old building. But all in all, we got lucky. We didn't lose any fish. We didn't lose power. So yeah, I feel good about what happened. But I also feel really good for another reason. And that's what I want to kind of spend a little time on now. Good morning, everyone. I don't know about you, but I'm someone that tends to worry a little bit or a lot. I worry about a lot of things. And one of the things that's always concerned me since we moved here was, what am I going to do in power outages? Where Lisa and I were living in Virginia, we never had really any issues. If the power ever went out, it was out for maybe an hour and we were miserable, like, oh, it's the apocalypse. And then it would come right back on, no big deal. So we never really had to go to the extremes of buying generators or anything like that. We had the batteries that Baby Kitty is doing such a good job protecting. We had those, and we had other things like battery operated air pumps and stuff like that. And so we were able to get through it if anything like that ever happened. But we were never prepared for major situations. And moving out here, out in the middle of nowhere, you just saw outside, we're surrounded by 1,100 acres of farmland all around us. Power, if it goes out here, it's going to be out for a long time. So to be prepared for that, we took all of the steps that we've taken here over the last week or so preparing for Hurricane Ian. And I feel so good about that. It hurts spending the money. We spent $1,200 on generators, but we're ready if anything like that ever happens. And that's the big advice that I would give to you, is to be prepared. Yes, it sucks paying all of that money and not having to use it, but I say it again. I think I've already said it in this video. It's better to have these things and not need them than to need them and not have them. I feel good that I have a plan in place for all of our 320 something aquariums, if you include all of the tiny beta tanks. We're prepared. If something like that happens, I could go for a long time without power. And I could provide my own power to this building and keep all of my fish safe and keep them as happy as possible. Hurricane season here in North Carolina, it's not overly cold. So, heat wouldn't be a huge issue. Keeping the water moving, keeping air in the tanks, keeping it flowing is going to be the priority. And we're prepared for that. And we're even prepared for plugging in heaters if we need to. So I feel so good about that. There's a burden that's been lifted off of me, and it feels great knowing I know exactly what I'm going to do if something like that happens. So that's the advice that I would give to you, is prepare yourself. Be ready if, hopefully you never need it, but be ready if something were to happen. I said it before, it sucks putting out that money and then not seeing anything from it. But the feeling that you get of being prepared, knowing what you're going to do, that is worth way more than the $1,200 that we paid for those generators. Now, these batteries and stuff like that, full disclosure, they sent those to us for free. They're very expensive, but we didn't have to pay for those. If we had to pay for those batteries and the generator and all of that, we would have spent like $2,000 just for this building. That's a lot. However, it's still worth it, especially if you're a crazy person like me and my wife that has all these aquariums and all these lives that we're responsible for. It makes total sense to spend that money and be ready. Listen, I'm going to give you a little tough love here right now, okay? You're not ready for this, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. You've spent a lot of money on your aquariums. You've spent a lot of money on rocks and driftwood and plants and fish food and chemicals and the glass box and all of that. Don't cry to me that it's too much money to spend $500 on a generator. It is a lot of money, but I bet you it's a whole lot less money than what you paid for your tank. You've got a lot of money invested in these tanks. It's best to spend a little bit more and be prepared for if the apocalypse happens. If the zombies come, at least our fish are going to be okay. And if we turn into zombies, hopefully somebody's around to feed the fish at least. So there you go. Today's video is all about a good feeling of being prepared. I hope that you're able to work something out to where you're prepared. It doesn't have to be to the extremes that we've done, but maybe having a couple of battery operated air pumps or something like that just to keep the water moving. I hope you're able to get at least something and have a plan in place for if the inevitable happens. If your power is going to be out for 3 or 4 hours, you don't need to go run and buy a generator and all that kind of stuff. But if you live out in rural North Carolina during hurricane season, it's probably going to be a good idea to just spend the money, as much as it hurts, and buy those generators. And trust me, buy them when there is no threat of hurricanes, because when there's a threat of a hurricane, they can be hard to find. So just be prepared. We had to drive an hour to get ours because we waited too long, but we got them. We have a plan in place. We feel good about it now. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much, Mother Nature, for not doing worse to us than you did. I appreciate you so much, and hopefully you appreciate what I bring to you. And if you do, maybe hitting that subscribe button would be the way that you could reward us. It's not something that I ever really ask for, but I'm going to start asking for it now because we haven't been getting as many subscribers as we used to, and that hurts my feelings a little bit. So maybe we can get those numbers up. Maybe we can hit 500,000 before winter. I don't know. We'll have to see. But thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you on the next one. Bye.